year where you got to do two things. You got to win games, and you got to be progressing every game. You got to be getting better every game. We won a game, we did not progress, and I was disappointed. I was very complimentary, and I said this to our team. It's a tough situation when you find out right before a game somebody's not playing that you had put a lot into. And last time that happened was Sensabaugh, Ohio State, and and we did not. We relaxed. I thought we relaxed. Got off to a good start, 13-5. I thought our wings didn't guard anybody. When you have a game, when you have 5 turnovers and the opponent has 19, you have 20 assists and 29 baskets. There were some incredible things we did, but we missed wide open threes. We missed a bunch of free throws, which we haven't done in a long time, which means we just weren't there. The last 10 minutes, Tyson Walker was a different player, and it bothers me. So we won a game. That's what you got to do at this time of year. You got to win a game. But if you're going to really do something, and we had, when you've been in it as long as I have, you go to bed at night and you say, God, we had a good practice. I feel better. I sleep good. Good practice night before a game, that's great. And yet when you've been as long as I have, I said to Wojcik on the bench, there's times you have a good practice and you play bad, and there's times you have a bad practice and you play good. I like the odds the other way. It sounds like I'm taking a lot away from Minnesota, so I want to make sure I don't do that. I think Ben has done a phenomenal job. I think in some ways the bigger lineup gave us more trouble. Their guards were bigger, stronger. As you know, we're not the biggest team in America. I don't want to downplay. I thought A.J. played pretty good most of the game. That pass at the end is just things that you can't do, and they get that one stolen. My God, I could have stole that one. And yet I thought, hooray for Malik Hall, Gets his 1,000th point on maybe one of the better dunks I've seen in our building. Gets a double-double, plays good defense. I thought all in all, he did a hell of a job. Garcia's a hell of a player. He can get you inside, he can get you outside. It's a shame what happened to Cam Christie. Getting in foul trouble. I think he's done a hell of a job too, and he's going to be a very good player for him. And yet the guys that came in for him played pretty well also. So all in all, we're just going to take that as a win, and I'm going right to work on Maryland. Big road game that we have next. Question.
Tom, you said something after the Rutgers game I found really intriguing. You said, you were genuine when you said you think effort should really be a stat line. So if you had your legacy to be that, would be that, what would be some of the elements and how would you rate the team's effort tonight? Did I pick the wrong day to ask you that?
No. You mixed up the quote a little bit, but you're cool. Effort is a skill. It's a skill, and nobody makes effort a skill anymore. Coaches don't look at that. NBA guys never look at that, if you ask me personally. But it is a skill. And, there were times their effort was pretty good. I mean, they were beasts on the boards. I mean, because they played the bigger lineup, all of a sudden they moved, they started a bigger lineup with Payne. I mean, he had 10 boards. And then they come in there with Enan played a lot more minutes. He's 6'10", Then they come in with Fox. He played a little bit more than he normally plays. And then they came in with Ola Joseph, who I think is a hell of a player. He didn't do as much tonight, but hard to guard. And we had to guard him with one of our wing guys, and I think that hurt us a little bit. So, I mean, there was some effort there. There was some effort at the end. I thought the last 7-8 minutes, I thought we played with a lot more effort. But we didn't do some things early, and that's just disappointing. So I'm going to stay disappointed in it and be happy about the win.
Tom, this wasn't the first time Tyson's taken over in the last 8 minutes. How do you get him to be more assertive in the first 32?
I don't know. Ask him. I love him, too. I mean, he was great. His attitude was great. A couple guys I thought, but he was just like existing out there. And I just said, what are we doing? I said, remember I told you a couple weeks ago, I thought defensively he's got a whole nother notch. You saw it in the last 7 minutes. And why, I don't know. I don't know if he's saving himself. I don't know, whatever. But, I got to meet with him on that because he's just too good a player on both ends. And I thought that, I don't even know, did he take 2 shots the first half? He didn't have many, I don't think.
He only had 1 shot up until that last stretch, too, the second half.
Good job. Poor coaching. We got to get him some shots, but he's got to get himself some shots. And I just thought, when you look at it, fast break points 21-6, points in the paint 44-12, or 17-2 on fast break, points off turnovers 21-6. Bench points, the only one they got us in a second chance, and they are really good on the boards. This is a good team, and he is a good coach and has done a great job with them. Mitchell, number 2, is that Mitchell? He hit a couple of big threes, and yet his percentages weren't great, but he hit a couple big threes. Cam hit a couple. Garcia hit one, he's 1 for 15 for the year, and that's what happens, And then really what was disappointing is the free throw line, because I know we missed at least 2, maybe 3. We've been shooting really well from the line. Marty's been shooting really well and goes 3 for 8. I feel for him because, he's worked on it hard and he's been shooting it well. But we got to get better. Get better.
What about a little bit about the first half? The guards taking the ball off the dribble and kind of getting in deep and initiating contact. That a little bit, and maybe the last sequence. It looked like that last sequence. You had a chance to maybe push it back over to double digits, and a couple things
Before the half?
Yeah, right before the half.
Yeah, poor job. Really poor job. What were we, 6 or 8 up? We had the ball, right? And then it ends up 5, and then they get the first 5 of the second half. Poor job. Poor job of coaching it. Used the timeout. I thought we were in a position. We did not do a very good job, and they did a good job. They played well. They mixed up their zone man. I thought we attacked the zone pretty good. We had good enough shots to shoot better than we did, but not many teams shoot in the 30s against us from the 3, and they shot 35, and it was 50 half the night. So got to get better defensively, and yet we must have been doing something right with our effort to turn the ball over 19 times. We got some steals, we did dig down, we did some things there, but that team was 3-3 coming in. They had some good wins, you start thinking, well, Penn State didn't look very good here, did they? And then they go beat Wisconsin. I wish I could figure out the league and my own team, but I can't. So I'll just give credit to Minnesota that they played well tonight. They made some plays, and yet we did a lot of good things, just not enough of them. Yeah, that's ridiculous. It was 2 forever. I couldn't believe it, and that just shouldn't happen.
Tom, Malik has had games like this in his career and in the season, and he's had some quieter times. I'm just wondering, if you think back, are there common threads to when he's able to have games like this, whether it's his preparation, his mindset coming in, or anything you notice from him that tends to lead to these type of performances from him?
I'm a coach. That's his job. If I knew that, I'd be in a different profession. I give him credit, though. The last 6 games, he's been really good in 4 of them, decent in 1 of them, and then poor in 1 of them, to be very honest. But we are getting more consistency out of him. I do think he had great practices. I do think he was dialed in coming here. He was really good in the huddles, and that was early. But he did a lot of things, because what you didn't see here, Dawson got 22 points, but he had to get most of them at the free throw line. And I thought when I had Malik on him, he did a phenomenal job, So, if we can keep Malik going like that, I know Jaden and Tyson will play better. I think they both, Jaden had 4 of his 5 threes were, I thought, wide open. And he made 2 that got not counted on, And so, all in all, it was a physical game. It was physical.
Tom, you've had some good teams where if things got nervy in the second half, though, sometimes it went the other way. This team for a while now gets down by 5 in Indiana State, 62-62. There does seem to be a calmness and grit in those. Is that something you're starting to trust with this group?
I don't like calmness, by the way. I'm not like some of those coaches, they want everybody to be calm. I don't like calmness. But what you're saying, there was a confidence, there was a players a little bit getting on players about we got to get some stops, and so they were saying the right things in the huddle. And you are right. I mean, a couple of times we had it to 6 and 5, and we just couldn't get over the hump. I don't know why. I mean, we were up there, and then Marty misses that 2-inch shot. Then we miss those free throws. So beginning of the year we shot like that from the line and lost the game. So maybe we are getting a little better. I was pleased with most of the effort, other than a couple of guys. For a lot of that game, I didn't think checked as well as they did, and I think they took their foot off the gas. We had prepared hard for the Cat Quick guy, but these guys shoot it better than him. And and they got size, and they defend probably a little better. So what helped them, what hurt them, I think helped them in some ways, and hurt us in some ways. But on those drives that you're talking about, one of you guys said they were driving to the basket. Some of our bigs didn't step up on those too. So, we play some ball screen coverages where both parties have to be engaged. If we're going to go over and the center isn't up, we're inviting a penetration. If we go under because the center doesn't want to do his job, they're going to shoot some threes. So I'd say that both parties, we got to do a better job, which means we got to coach it better. Because I thought there were some mistakes there. And again, I don't know, what were they shooting in the Big Ten? 27% from the three, I think, 20-some. And, God, they made some shots early. And they were 4 for 5 early. And, give them credit. This is a good basketball team. The problem we have in our league right now is we've had teams like Nebraska, Northwestern, well, not Northwestern, but Nebraska, Penn State, Minnesota, that have been down for a few years. And so people think we're the same team that would get 50 offensive rebounds. We're not that team. But those teams that weren't that way are a lot better. He's got a good team, and he's done a good job with them. And I think they're gonna win some games. I guarantee you. Yes?
Coach, you mentioned earlier that Dawson Garcia is one heck of a player. How do you feel that your bigs, Carson, Madi, and Malik, fared against them?
I really think they did a pretty good job. I complained about verticality because verticality, one day they call it one way and one day they call it another way. But what he did such a great job, and when he missed the shot, he went right after it. I thought Malik did a pretty good job, but he's a little smaller. I thought Carson Cooper did a great job, had some blocks, and a couple got called. But, I was pleased because what we said is we're not going to dig as much off them like we did the first half. We got some steals, but they got some threes. So then we eliminated the threes, but they also got some buckets in there. And a good player. He's a really good player. There's a reason that he was at North Carolina and transferred, and he's a very good player. And seems like a great kid. Seems like a worker. Love Garcia. Just don't like playing against him.
Coach, 4 of Minnesota's 5 starters ended the game with 4 or 5 fouls. How much does getting guys in foul trouble and what you're doing after they're in foul trouble affect what you're trying to do offensively?
I don't know if we did that on purpose. I think in Cam's case, he was mad at himself. He was yelling at himself on a couple of them because they were probably not the fouls he normally commits. He's a very smart kid and a very smart player. But it was a meat market in there, both ways. It was a physical game. That Payne is he's a bull in the china closet. He can spin, he can do some things, and he just clears people out. And Garcia, I think, is a lot stronger than people give him credit for. So I was impressed with the team, and then bring Wilson in. I'd like to get into a fight with him. Meaning on my side. I want him on my side. Monster, they were really big, and that did create some problems. I thought our guys hung in there pretty well. Marty has 5 rebounds. He has 4 offensive, so that means he didn't get as many defensive. Cooper only gets 2 rebounds, but I thought he battled. And Sometimes it doesn't always come up. Our other guys got to clean it up, which we didn't do as good a job of as I would have liked to have seen. In all honesty, I didn't think our wings didn't play as good. Simple.
Tom, you want to address the technical foul?
Sure, I told the guy that Happy New Year, and he didn't think it was funny. And no, I mean, the problem, there were some calls that I thought were questionable both ways, and this verticality thing drives me up the wall. And we missed one right before the half that I know they missed on a layup, but you can miss them, but not on layups, you know. And then they called the same thing down the other end, and I said something. In my mind, he laughed at me, and I told him what I thought of it. And yet I walked away. I didn't appreciate the other guy giving me a tee, but I probably deserved the tee, and he deserved what I said. So that's even. Except in those even and odd things, we lose because they have the final say. So my mistake.
Near the end of the game, we saw Carson Cooper and Marty play together on court. Was that a plan to defend the bigs from Minnesota?
Yeah. You know, we decided to go with two bigs, which we don't do very often, but they were so big because they were going 6'10", 6'9", 6'11", 6'9", and then they were coming in with either Inman or the Ola Joseph, who are big wings, and we're just not very big on our wings, you know. And if Jaden doesn't, he's got to play tremendous defensively, and Tyson, even though he's small, he's a very good defender. And I've been saying for 2 weeks, you know, I got to get more out of him. And the good thing about Tyson, he agrees. He knows it. Why, I don't know. You know, I think sometimes he is saving himself a little bit. So that falls on the coaches. We got to do a better job on our rotation. I didn't get Cone Carr enough minutes tonight at the wing. I think we need to get him a little more. I thought Trey Holloman played pretty good. He did some good things, and that'll help us because Trey's been playing really well, and he's playing really well defensively. And one thing he does is he never turns the ball over. His assist to turnover thing is incredible. Anything else? Thank you.